Good evening and welcome to the April 11th, 2024 Town of Lake Luzerne Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Would you all please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. On tonight's agenda, we have a public hearing variance 2023 AV-9, Renee Elliott, 44 Harris Avenue. Minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting and new and old business. Major item there being Zoning Board of Appeals still needs an alternate, and no response from the notice on the website. The first item on the agenda is the public hearing. However, I've got to stop saying the public hearing will start at 7:05 because it's not 7:05 yet. So I would like to go to the minutes instead. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
So good. Anyone have any questions? Motion to accept the minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting in March 14.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hearing none, the motion's carried. Matt,
Okay.
I'd like to make a correction. The minutes that were accepted last month,
Yes.
I wrote 2023 instead 2024 for the January minutes, January meeting minutes. So I'll correct them and submit the correction to the website, but I just wanted to put it on record and let the board know
Thank you.
if that was the case.
And it's still not 7:05 yet, so.
My computer says it is.
Same.
My computer says it is too, so we'll just, and if I lean this way, the clock in the back room says 7:05. And with that, we'll go to item number 1 on the agenda, which is public hearing for variance 2023 AV-9, Renee Elliott, 44 Harris Avenue. Karen, would you read the public notice?
Please take notice that pursuant to the zoning ordinance of the town of Lake Luzerne, the zoning board of appeals will conduct a public hearing on April 11th, 2024 at 7:05 at their regularly scheduled meeting. The meeting will be held at the municipal complex 539 Lake Avenue, town of Lake Luzerne, to hear comments on the following: area variance 2023 AV-9, applicant owner Renee M. Elliott, parcel number 317.16-1-50, Hamlet Residential Zone, HR 0.14 acres. Location 44 Harris Avenue. The applicant has applied for 2 variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals. The first is relief from the zoning ordinance of Lake Luzerne, Article 6, General Regulations, fences, walls, and retaining walls, C, height. Required height for a fence is 4 feet in the front yard. The fence that has been installed is 6 feet along the East River Drive side of the property. The second variance is they are asking for relief from local law 3 of 2019, ancillary structures with which references Article 6, General Regulations, accessory structures, setbacks B3A, front yard setback. The required front yard setback is 60 feet on the East River Drive side and 27 feet is proposed. The applicants are offering an alternate site for the ancillary shed if the front yard setback of 27 feet is denied, but that will require a side yard setback. The relief is from the general regulations setbacks listed above, with the subsection being 3B, rear or side yard. The regulations require a 10 feet side yard setback and 5 feet is being proposed. This alternate site is on the Harris Avenue side of the property to the right of the driveway. A copy of the application as well as other supporting documentation are on file with the Office of the Zoning Officer and may be reviewed by interested members of the public during normal business hours, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4 p.m. and Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. All parties in interest and citizens will be given an opportunity to be heard in respect to the proposed variance at the public hearing. Persons or their agents may respond by letter, email, or appear in person. Karen Putney, Zoning Officer, Town of Lake Luzerne. P.O. Box 370, 539 Lake Avenue, Lake Luzerne, New York, 12846, 518-696-2711, extension 4. Lake Luzerne 4 at albany.twcbc.com, published April 2nd, 2024. I did receive one comment by email. I first got a phone call and she followed it up with an email. I received this on Monday, April 8th. It is from Helen Schaefer. Dear Miss Karen Putney, this is Helen Koff Schaefer, owner of 31 Harris Avenue and the property adjacent to parcel number 317.16-1-50, 44 Harris Avenue. I'm writing about the variances that the owner of this property has applied for which the Zoning Board of Appeals will conduct a public hearing on April 11th, 2024 at 7:05 p.m. Regretfully, I will not be able to attend this hearing. In lieu of attending, I would like to express my opinions on these variances in writing. The first variance from zoning ordinance Lake Luzerne, Article 6, General Regulations, Fences, Walls, and Retaining Walls, C, height required of 4 feet in front yard along East River Drive. Measured height of existing fence is 6 feet, does not bother me, and I do not mind relief from this regulation. The second variance from local law number 3 of 2019, ancillary structures, Article 6, General Regulations, accessory structures, setback B3A, 60 feet from East River Drive, but asking for 27, also does not bother me. However, the corresponding relief from 3B requiring a 10 feet side yard setback and 5 feet being proposed does affect us, and I want the record to show clearly that we do not support relief from 3B, as I feel the ancillary structure would be too close to my property. Please reach out to me if there is anything more that I should do to ensure that my opinion on this matter is considered during the hearing. Sincerely, Helen Schaefer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that, I will open the public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-9, 44 Harris Avenue. Anyone in the audience who has a statement to make? So if you would come to the table,
Sure.
state your name and speak into the microphone.
My name is Jack Abbott. I live at 45 Harris Avenue. I came mostly because I spoke to Helen Schaefer on the phone, and she has COVID right now, and she's also in South Connecticut. So it's a long drive, and she's not well. But I didn't know she was going to write that letter. So that really clarifies her stance much better even than I could probably for her. As far as the fence heights and everything else, nothing else bothers me, but I too have property that runs right along Helen's, and I thought more than once of going closer than 10 feet to build some sort of little structure, but I have held to the 10 feet. It seems like I suspect it's a safety issue, is it not? Is it for fire trucks or something, or?
I don't know. Well, the history of it is that these small ancillary structures did not used to be in the zoning ordinance, so they could be put anywhere on your property. They did not have to meet setbacks.
Okay.
That being less than 144 square feet or less. The larger buildings, the accessory structures, were governed, and they had to be, you had to always meet your front yard setback, but your side and rear, if you had a rear, this property does not have a rear yard, had to be at least 10 feet from the property line. In 2019, the town adopted an amendment to the ordinance and wrote in the ancillary structures as being the same setbacks as the accessory structures. The reason being was that people were finding that because there was no regulation on them, people were putting them over property lines and causing problems. And so they were trying to eliminate that problem. And also people, there was someone proposing to put, I'm going to quote him, 100 of these small, less than 144 square feet structures on their property because they weren't being allowed to put up a regular storage building because they had a violation on the property. So the board wanted to make sure that someone could not just put up 100 little sheds in place of a larger one, but they now have to meet that same 10-foot side and rear yard setback. That's the history of it.
Okay, I didn't know that had happened.
But in the New York State Building Code, structures are supposed to be 10 feet apart for fire separation
That's
reasons.
what I just
But
assumed.
they don't govern those small, less than 144 square
Yeah.
feet buildings either.
Okay, well, I don't know, does anybody have any questions or anything? I live across Harris Avenue, so really very little. I have no particular problem personally. I just wanted to make sure. I also spoke to Rodney Barrett. Barrett lives on the side of the other side of the property, and he's perfectly happy. He told me nothing bothered him at all. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Yes, sir. Renee, do you have anything to add?
Where does Helen live? Cause I don't know.
It's that blank, empty property right
Oh,
next to you.
us? Oh, okay. Okay. Vacant.
It's
Okay.
vacant
Vacant
property.
property, no.
Okay, so she doesn't like our other choice if we can't get the back, or the other front yard.
She doesn't like the alternate. She likes, she
likes
likes the
Or
one,
we like it.
yes, out near the fence on the
Okay.
East River Drive side.
Okay.
That's the one she prefers.
If there's nothing else, I will close the public hearing for area variance 2023 AV-9. And go into review. Every once in a while, I feel the need to read the summary of area variance criteria for the record. This is from the New York Planning Federation. This is a balancing test. The Board of Appeals shall balance benefit to the applicant with detriment to health, safety, and welfare of the community. Board of Appeals shall also consider whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, whether there's an undesirable change in the neighborhood character or detriment to nearby properties, whether the request is substantial, whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects, and whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, which is relevant but not determinative. So those are the criteria that we use when we're reviewing your application to make a determination. Your application is seeker exempt. There is no significant county or intercommunity or countywide effect. You have a non-jurisdictional letter from the EPA. Anybody have any questions on the preliminaries?
So what are the specific details? I know there's like alternates and options and.
At our last meeting, we discussed that the application was two different things, and I'd like to address them as two different variances. The one is for the height of the fence.
Yep.
And the other is for the setback for the accessory structure in the location, which is 27 or 22 feet?
27.
27 feet from the center line of East River Drive. So facing the property from Harris, it would be in the back left corner of the property.
Suggest that you actually treat them as three different variances.
Okay,
I know that they're an alternative. but
Yes.
If you approve one, and then just leave the other one hanging out there, it's still kind of out there.
okay.
So I do think that maybe we should make a motion on each one.
On recommendation of council, we'll be treating this as three separate variances. No, that's fine. No, you are absolutely correct, because it will be out there and we haven't acted. Yes, I get that. I do get that. So, I'd like to start with the variance for the height of the fence. So if I go to the application, the home was purchased in January of 23. The fence was there at the time. They would like to keep the fence where it is. If I go through the variance standard in the application, Describe how the requested variance will not alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact adjacent properties. Its response is by leaving the fence at 6 feet of height along the East River Drive, it will not alter the character or impact adjacent properties as it has existed that way for years. I thought previously there was a statement in here about noise reduction from the East River Drive. I do not see that in this application.
Been on the original one.
Yeah, I
but,
thought so. So I will state for the record then, from my perspective, that the fence does provide for noise reduction from the traffic on East River Drive. Obviously, the taller fence provides for more noise reduction than a 4-foot fence. One of the first things we're looking at is whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant. I think the noise reduction achieved by a 6-foot fence is only achieved by a 6-foot fence. You could put other materials up there, but that is not the subject we're looking at. We're looking at the height. I do not see how this variance request will alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact adjacent properties. Rail?
So if this variance goes through, does that property forever have a variance to keep installing a fence like that?
No,
Or
as
is
soon
it
as that
just-
fence comes down, they'll have to meet the code or get a variance for a replacement fence.
So it's just for that existing fence to live its life out?
Correct.
Okay.
Right? That's how you treat it.
Mhm.
That was my.
My question was along the same lines as him, so I'm good.
Do you consider that the 6-foot fence, the current 6-foot fence, leaving that there will alter the character of the neighborhood or impact adjacent property?
I don't believe that it'll alter the character of the neighborhood or impact adjacent properties just because that fence has been established there for quite a while at this point.
Okay, Kayla?
I agree, there's no impact.
Question number 2, describe what alternatives have been explored to achieve a solution other than the variance. It's not addressed in the application I have in front of me. It's the application I have in front of me discusses only the storage shed. The alternatives would be to remove the fence and install a shorter fence,
Or just cut it down to an approved height.
right, which would probably be more costly than removing it and reinstalling a new one.
You just cut it with a skill saw, snap line and cut it.
Only if you got somebody to, only if you can do that yourself. I agree. Those are the alternatives.
That's a cost-effective alternative. But there's really no answers to the fence on here.
Yeah, Karen, do we have the?
I have-
It doesn't say anything.
So I think your answer to that is that you don't know of any alternatives that were explored.
Correct. We all in agreement?
Yes.
Question number 3, explain whether this requested variance is substantial. The request is substantial for only asking for one variance for the shed. Again, this does not address the height of the fence. The regulations call for a fence not to exceed 4 feet in height. This is 6 feet in height. That's a 50% difference. To me, that is substantial. Well,
Yeah, it would be substantial if we drove down East River Drive and everybody that didn't like the noise had a 6-foot wooden fence. It is substantial, yeah. The town board made the regulations years ago for a reason. So yes, I think it is substantial.
Yeah, 50% is a substantial variance.
Kayla,
I agree, it's substantial.
Question number 4, describe how the requested variance will not have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Again, this does not address the fence.
I kind of have to take responsibility for that because I had them redo this application when we had so many discrepancies in the plot plan that we got. So because they were long distance, I kind of pre-prepared this based off their old application. And I did not consider that when I looked at it. What I did was kind of copy what they had on the old one. And then we tweaked it to meet these new setback measurements that we had come up with. So that may have been an oversight on my part, not so much on their part, but I just want to say that for their benefit.
Thank you, Karen.
First one does address the fence.
Yeah, I thought it did.
There is no impact. This is for number 4.
Yep.
There is no impact because the fence has existed for years before. And we purchased the property. And then it goes into the check.
I'd like to take a step back. The original application also under the category, question number 3, whether this requested variance is substantial, the response was it's yes, because they would have to cut our fence to 4 feet based on the current regulations. So the original application did address it. The response to question 4 from the original application as to whether it had an adverse impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood states there's no impact because the fence has existed for years.
And the only reason this came to light is because they want to rent it as an Airbnb. And it was now applicable to any and all inspections, right? To clear up problems like this. And you guys understand, like, that's what that's what that inspection process does.
Yeah.
It helps clear up, any existing problems.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's a dumb question. Isn't the variance like a 2/6 request? So wouldn't that be 33%?
To me, it's
50%
2 feet
more.
on 2 feet on 4 feet is 50%. The maximum house, right? The maximum hour, right?
Okay. Okay. Math is not my strong suit.
We're on 4. I don't think it has an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Leaving the existing 6-foot fence, which is not going to last forever. Rail,
I don't see any major impact on it as of right now.
Mike,
Yeah, I don't see any impact on it with the wooden fence on the community or the neighborhood.
Kayla,
On the environment, I don't see any major impact.
question number 5, describe how the requested variance is not a self-created difficulty. The response for the fence portion is the fence was already on the property when we bought it. I agree that they did not create the difficulty. Rail.
It is a self-created difficulty because if you didn't want to rent your house out as an Airbnb, it would have never really been brought to light. So it's definitely a self-created difficulty.
Mike?
I don't feel that it's self-created difficulty with the fence being installed prior to the purchase.
Kayla?
I don't believe it's a self-created difficulty as well.
Anyone have any questions regarding this variance request?
So it's just for the life of the existing fence. That's
No questions? I make a motion to approve area variance 2023 AV-9 for the height for the fence facing the East River Drive side, to approve a variance for a height of 6 feet as opposed to the required height of 4 feet for the life of the fence.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call vote.
Please?
Matt,
Yes.
Rail,
yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Kayla,
Yes,
hearing none, the motion's carried.
So the fence can stay at the 6 feet.
Thanks.
Okay, now. We're now reviewing the variance request for the setback for an ancillary structure Article 6, General Regulations, Accessory Structures Setbacks, B3A, Front Yard Setback, required setback is 60 feet and 27 feet is proposed. So if you look at the maps that we have, that is the location of the storage shed in the back left corner of the property as facing the property from Harris Avenue. Okay, is everybody clear what we're discussing?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing new. The description of the proposed action is install a small shed for lawn equipment storage, as nothing exists and there's no garage for storage. Question number 1, describe how the requested variance will not alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact adjacent properties. The storage shed put on the East River Drive will be mainly not visible except for 3.5 feet of height. Karen, is that still correct? The height,
Yeah, the drawing that. they
9.5
gave us is
feet is,
9.5
okay,
feet,
thank you,
and the fence is 6.
thank you. I agree that by placing a 9.5 foot tall storage shed in that back corner of the property, close to the 6 foot fence, will not alter the character of the larger neighborhood or impact adjacent properties. Rail,
Gonna be a big old shed there. I don't think it's gonna alter the character, affect the 2-month range. Question number 1.
Mike,
I feel that the shed won't alter the characteristics of the neighborhood.
Kayla,
I don't think it will alter the character of the neighborhood with only 3 feet, 3.5 feet showing.
thank you. Could you swing your microphone around? Well, I'm sorry, I thought.
Oh.
I thought,
Want both?
no. I can make a statement that one of you is enough, but that would just be rude.
You also have to remember, if the shed outlives the fence, which has a variance for its lifetime, then you're gonna be looking at a shed with no fence.
This is true.
All right.
Good point.
That is a valid point.
Did it say what the finish is gonna be for the siding of the shed?
Well, the shed will outlive the fence.
Right. What's the,
It was,
yeah, what's it gonna look like?
Rough cut.
rough cut pine. Board and batten, is that correct?
Match the general look. Probably match the general neighborhood pretty good there.
Yeah.
Any additional discussion for question one?
Mhm.
Question number two, describe what alternatives have been explored to achieve a solution other than a variance. The response is, we've looked at alternative sites for the storage shed, but we would need to be asking for multiple variances and any other placement. We are limited to where you can put the shed to the wastewater treatment location. I agree with the response which is provided here, since the initial storage shed location was on the other side of the property. And now that the septic system has been located, that is not an acceptable location, which is how this location has been chosen. We know that there is a proposed alternate location in the, how shall I say, the Harris Avenue front yard side of it, as opposed to the East River Drive side front yard, but I would say that they have explored alternatives other than not having a shed. Rail.
I mean, yeah, you guys definitely need to try a lot of alternatives. In the end of the day, there's just not enough property there to meet the setbacks and stuff. I think you guys should try to explore alternatives.
Yeah,
Mike,
I feel the same. I feel that there was multiple alternatives that were explored on this.
Kayla,
I believe there was plenty of alternatives explored.
any further discussion?
I'm good with that.
Question number three, explain whether this requested variance is substantial. The response is yes, the variance request is substantial, but we're only asking for one variance for the shed. When we planning to put it, when put in either position, if we placed it anywhere else, we'd have to ask for multiple variances. I agree the request is, I believe the requested variance is substantial. Rail,
Yes, I believe it's substantial.
Mike,
I believe the requested, it's above 50%, so it's substantial.
Kayla.
I agree, it's definitely substantial.
Question number four, describe how the requested variance will not have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. The response is, we're not physically disturbing any soils or environment, and there are many similar structures in the area. Renee, there's no base for this shed. Is it on crusher? Is it on a foundation?
It's poured concrete.
Are you planning on just framing it out and pouring a slab on top of grade?
Like a like a 4-inch slab on top of the grade of base that is there.
So there's going to be no excavating occurring to. Okay, based on the response on the application and the clarification, I do not believe that this variance request will have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Rail.
I don't see any negative impacts, but how far is like the yellow line from the edge of the road?
Usually 14 on center. Yellow being middle,
Right.
usually 14. On a 45-mile-per-hour highway in the county, it's got to be 14 at least.
So it's only 13 feet from the road.
The
Thir-
shed?
Yeah, if it's 27
From the
feet
edge.
from the yellow line, it's 13 feet from the edge of the road.
It's,
27 feet from the
Yeah.
yellow line.
What did I measure, 12-foot lane when I was out there?
Yeah, I think we measured a 12
All
foot
right.
lane.
Yeah,
That's more than possible. It's tight through
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Cause Chris and I went down and helped them redo this because again, it was not drawn accurately, I guess is what I want to say. And Chris went out in the middle of the road, we measured to the fence and then from the fence back. Those measurements that are on the latest plot plan are accurate as far as the distances.
so
So
15 from the edge.
27 feet from the center line of the road is correct.
Right.
Thank you.
The fence is 25 feet back from East River, from the center of East River Drive. And
The
this
fence is?
shed, the fence is 25 feet back from the center of East River Drive. And this shed will be 2 feet off of that fence.
Okay, so it's correct. Yeah, so the shed is 27
Yeah,
feet from the center line.
yes.
So 13 feet from the edge of the road. How much off the edge of the road does the county own?
They don't own, it's like a given, it's,
Whatever they maintain.
yeah, it's whatever. I've called them before and they do not have a set right of way off of any of their roads.
Okay.
isn't that 15 feet if it's a 12-foot lane?
Not
And then we're setting it
necessarily.
back 27 feet?
It's whatever they maintain.
It also depends on the type of road, how ownership was obtained, how they maintain it. There's a whole lot of considerations that go into what the right of way is.
Is that all?
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about the right of way, the location of the shed.
Sorry.
Yes.
What were you
It's
asking?
15 feet from,
If it's
the
a
edge of the road.
12 foot, yeah,
yeah, okay.
Because they just did all those culverts and stuff down there, didn't they, on the side of the road at Bryn?
in Corinth.
Or I mean,
On
Yes.
East River
River Drive.
Drive, they put concrete
They did.
things.
And that's
through
6
there.
feet off the edge of the road, so this is gonna be like 6 feet from the edge of those.
I don't think they put them back there though.
They're not on your side there?
There aren't any culverts,
They're not from Call Street all the way down.
No.
not on that side.
No.
No, that's.
I think it's the
Oh,
other
they
side.
stopped right at the edge of that road and went into a manhole, didn't they? Okay,
Not sure.
Hmm.
I think on the other side of Harris, there's a little bit of a dip there, but there's kind of a gully. Might not be a culvert, might just be a natural formation.
Well, he's talking East River Drive side, because they did put concrete thing, but it's not down on that side of
I
the
think
road
it
there.
stops right before their
Yeah.
road.
So Rail, I think we're at,
Question 4.
does it have your opinion, will it have an adverse impact on physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
No,
Thank you. Mike,
I feel there'll be no impact on physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood.
Kayla?
No impact.
Question number 5, describe how the requested variance is not a self-created difficulty. Response is, it is a self-created difficulty. Asking to do this project, but there are so few alternatives to where to put the shed, and the fence is already on the property. We've already discussed the fence, so we don't need to discuss that now. Yes, it is self-created. Rail,
yep, it's a self-created difficulty. Like I said, there's just not enough on the property there to do it.
Mike,
Yes, it is a self-created difficulty.
Kayla?
Self-created.
All right. Does anyone have any additional questions, comments on this portion of the requested variance application?
So there's gotta be 2 votes for this one.
One vote for this, and then we briefly go through the alternative with a separate area variance request.
Okay.
Just
Depending
so,
on your vote for this one.
yes,
I have a question. I don't know if we're allowed to consider this or not. If this were the backyard, would there require a variance?
Let me look at the plot plan again.
Well, but the rear yard, if you have a 25-foot setback.
hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Karen.
No, they would not require a variance if it were considered a rear yard.
And is it 25 or 10 feet?
Over 20.
10 feet.
Count residential?
For an ancillary and an accessory structure, 10
Right.
feet.
Are we allowed to consider that at all?
I will ask council, but my position would be, no, because since our ordinances say that that property has 2 front yards. And, it does not have a backyard.
Yeah.
It is my way of thinking, a valid question,
Yeah.
but should not be a consideration. Is that?
Thank you.
Any other questions? Then I will make a motion to approve area variance 2023 AV-9 for the location of an ancillary structure as specified in the application regarding size, footprint, and height, all other factors. To allow the proposed setback of 27 feet versus the required setback of 60 feet.
I will second that motion.
Roll call vote.
Please.
Matt,
Yes.
Rail,
No.
Mike,
Yes.
Kayla.
Yes.
All right, so we have 1 no and 3 yeses. The motion's carried.
And now we will address the proposed alternate location of a storage shed.
You know what, actually? Are you happy with the approval that they just gave you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you agree to withdraw your application for the second variance?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's.
That'll beat it, yeah.
Okay. Fine. Okay,
Right, so Karen, you'll consider that second one.
I'm writing on here, request for second variance, withdrawn.
Then we just have to do like permit or permit.
Yes. Yeah. And there's only one required at the town level, not at the county because of the size, so we can, whenever you're next in the area, we can take care of that.
How long is that permit good for?
Our permits are good for 2 years once they're
Ah.
issued.
Okay. Case it snows in.
Never know.
That's don't jinx us.
When I was here for 20 something inches. Thank you.
is any, you're quite welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, you're all set. The last item on the agenda, new old business, I know, Mary has everyone seen the update from Mary on the Williams property?
Yes.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
Nothing. I can't say that I didn't expect this.
Yeah.
Last item of business, we are still conducting a meeting here.
No, just let me know.
Gentlemen, we are still conducting a meeting here. Probably not. Zoning board alternate.
Okay. I have now received one since I wrote that up. We have received an applicant and the town board is going to try and get hold of her and have her come in next week, Tuesday afternoon at the agenda meeting to interview her. Hopefully with the idea of if they approve her to approve it at the May meeting and then she'll be available for the May zoning board meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
the name is Sonia Harris, if anyone knows her or wants to know, that's who has sent in an interest.
I do not know her.
What was the first name again?
Sonia,
Sonia.
It's on River Road.
she lives on River Road, yes. So the board will be interviewing her Tuesday afternoon at the 4 o'clock agenda meeting. You probably want to be there.
Remind me, would you please?
And me, but it's at 4.
I know.
Uh, That's all I have. Well, I take that back. I know I've told you previously that the town has received a grant to assist us in revising our zoning regulations. So Jim Dials is running that for the town board, and Karen is running that for the zoning board. There have been some preliminary meetings, and there are going to be additional meetings to address how this is going to move forward. I have seen a draft RFP request for proposal has been developed. That's going to be reviewed by Karen and Chris and myself, and Jim Karimsky is the planning board chairman. Just to discuss it, we have a meeting this coming Tuesday to go over the request for proposal. I will say it's a very detailed request. The number of required deliverables is, I believe it's around the neighborhood of 15. And my personal opinion is we're going to need a lot more money than we have to accomplish something as broad in scope as this current proposal is. But this is only the draft. It doesn't mean this is what's going out.
Do it cost money to change the zoning?
Oh, yeah. Well, it costs money because
That's the old legalized.
Yeah, we actually don't
Too, you gotta
really
think about
involve
that.
the engineers and stuff that do the.
right.
There's a lot.
It is the engineering firm that has done this before, that will be assisting us, but it is, and the reason for doing this is, it is a major undertaking. I think it would probably take Karen a year just to determine how to make us in compliance with APA regulations.
I agree. I'm not sure that that's going to be accomplished, but
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and this is a good start, but my personal opinion is it's a start, but you got to start somewhere.
I've spent some time looking back at our ordinance from 2000, researching what the ordinance was when some things were built here, as far as these short-term rental regulations, and there's a huge difference between 2000 and 2010's ordinance. So I don't know how, I mean, it's clearly substantial in that case, but I can imagine from 2010 to currently, we could see a similar difference.
What's the status? Didn't we have like a comprehensive plan, or didn't the town like fill up the room with a bunch of people they picked? What's the status of that? Or that just?
that was adopted. That
Right.
comprehensive plan is adopted. And that is what is prompting them to go the next step and try to bring this code book more into compliance with what the
So
comprehensive
that was
plan is
just kind of
asking
like
for.
a wish list. Like this is what we're all dreaming to do, but nothing really,
It's an outline of where. the
like,
town
oh, with
wants
like
to
a Santa
The
wish
start.
list.
Yep.
Yep. No, I'm just wondering if there's actual real progress. Or just a bunch of people just kind of talking about what they want to do.
Well, there are certain projects that they are going to try and undertake. One of them was the Priscilla Core in the lake, which has already been done. That was in the comprehensive plan. The next thing that they're currently working on is they're trying to get a grant to do this playground at the Bicentennial Park down by the lake, and they've got proposals of what it will look like, but they're trying to get a grant to cover the money.
And
So
I'm not grilling.
I know, but
Really,
I'm just saying, and there are other things in there. There is a Route 9 end corridor study that they would like done. There is oh, crap, I just read it today. I looked at it today because I want to try and keep it fresh in my mind. anyway, different things. They're trying to, uh, what they would like to do is get a marketing plan for the town together to try and make it more, sell it more to the public, to bring in tourism and other people into the area. They would like to look at the housing in the area, try and see if they can get it in like apartments and that kind of thing.
Businesses, restaurants.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, and again, they've already accomplished one, which was the Priscilla Core. This playground one is in the works, if they can get the grant for it. So they are trying to work on it. Yes, it is a wish list, but they are trying to accomplish some of it. Not all of it will probably get done, and that's quite typical of comprehensive plans, but they're starting.
I see Lake George and like 7 other lakes up in the Adirondacks just banned the use of Priscilla Court.
Possibly.
Oh, yeah.
It came out like a few days ago.
No, it came out like a month ago.
All right, it popped up on like one
New
of the
York
news
State and
stations.
the APA, they banned that Priscilla Court in any lake that could potentially have drinking water. That's okay. That's not zoning problems though.
No, it had nothing to do with zoning,
No, I'm just throwing it out.
but
We good?
Anybody have anything else? Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?